Hello, and welcome to the Amuck podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Amuck podcast, home of the best Bachelor in Paradise recaps on this side of Mexico. As always, I'm your host, David Staunton. I'm joined alongside me today by my loyal compadres, Carson, Cooper, and producer Gary, to break down the latest drama from your favorite franchise. Fellas, perhaps at least Monday's episode, maybe the wildest episode we've ever seen of this show.
And
it's
you know
certainly
what?
Up there.
That's not even a hot take. Like, that quite literally could have been the most craziest episode I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It was nuts.
my jaw was on the floor the entire time.
Yeah, me
the
too.
whole time.
And then yesterday, on Tuesday night, we pretty much run it back with the same exact scenario with two people who matter a whole lot less. Two people who nobody knew who they were. But that being said, before we jump in, we got a lot to cover. So we're going to be running through our little preamble here. We got it, as we always do, every episode, we get the mops out, get the brooms out, get the Windex, start wiping stuff down, get the Clorox, people. We got to do a little bit of house cleaning. Rate, review, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you normally watch on YouTube and you own an iPhone, head over to iTunes. Give us that 5-star rating. You guys have been doing a fantastic job of spreading the word. We're growing every week. Thank you so much. That's all we asked for. There's no ads on these videos. There's no MeUndies break in between to tell you which pattern design to buy this week. No. Just tell your friends. That's all we ask for. Now, before we jump in, we like to dip into a little bit of listener mail. Now, this one has nothing to do with Bachelor in Paradise per se, but one of our longtime listeners, Nick, friend of the program, sent me a little post, a little tidbit last night. Again, no spoilers. Don't send us any spoilers. There's not a spoiler, but whoever was selected as the next Bachelor, Coop, I told you this earlier today.
Yeah.
Apparently contestants are dropping out like
I saw
crazy.
that.
Yes.
Who do we think it is?
We think it's Greg.
Yes,
I
we
think across the board we think it's Greg. And hey, look, we've had some feedback from Greg heads. I think that's what his fan base is called. The Greg nuts.
The
out
Greg
there.
heads.
Hey, we're not the Greg heads. We're not. Hey, look, I'm rooting for a Greg Grippo Bachelor season because I think it'd be electric. Regardless of what we think about him. So very, very interesting. I don't know who else, at least from Katie's season, would warrant that kind of drama. But next, I've got a lot of people. We got a lot of feedback on Joe and Serena. Yet again, mentioned in the last episode, people are very invested in this couple. Real quick, do you guys think they're the couple of Paradise, like the feature couple? Because we've had a lot. Obviously, Brendan and Pieper are now stealing the show. I'm not calling them the couple of Paradise, but we've also had now we have kind of Kenny and Mari finding themselves back to each other. But Joe and Serena, they have, I think, the most interesting dynamic where a lot of our listeners are skeptical but hopeful, as are we. Now, I don't know. We've been getting a lot of feedback. Do you guys think that they are the marquee couple after these last two episodes we've seen this week?
I think so. And I think it comes honestly right down to consistency. Like from the very beginning, they've been consistent right through. Like we've seen, obviously, Kenny's been wrapped up in a bit of a love, not even triangle square for a few weeks now. Obviously, Brendan and Pieper aren't necessarily fan favorites, but I just think all encompassing, I think it's obviously Joe and Serena.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gary.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, they threw Kendall in the mix, and that didn't even do anything. Didn't even phase Joe at all.
And I mean, people have also picked out, like we said, hey, distance and an age gap. Those are the two red flags. Those are two big obstacles to hop over. Someone also mentioned, hey, Chicago and Toronto are a hell of a lot closer than Chicago and LA. Fair enough. That's a great counterpoint.
Great point.
Also, if I were betting money, I think Serena is moving to Chicago. If I'm betting money right now, she seems super, super into him. If you're willing to take on that sort of gauntlet of a situation with Kendall coming in, calling your boyfriend butthead, and you don't sprint away, I think you're invested.
I think you're all in. Yeah.
Well, okay, so it's apropos because that is our first topic for this episode. I do want to give a quick shout out to RW on YouTube who called us out. Gary, you sent this to me earlier in the week. Guy with the, what'd she say? Guy with the glasses said, a boot. Are you guys Canadian?
Yeah.
My dream, it's not ambitious, but my dream is that one day our listeners will know our names. Guy with the glasses.
Well,
Guy
the
with the
best
glasses.
part about it is our names are on
They're
screen.
right there.
Like if you're watching,
Yeah.
They're right there. They're there. Hey, and shout out to RW. All I'm saying is one day, I'm addressing you by name. I would love to get the same in return. We are Canadian, so if I pronounce anything in a stupid way, that's my scapegoat. Well, that's what we're doing in Canada.
Yeah.
Now let's jump right in. We mentioned them off the bat. Episode 6, just an absurdly action-packed episode. Kendall, Joe, Serena. Now we get the replay, and me and Coop were watching it together, and we were waiting for that moment. We get hit with the "Hey Butthead" once again, and we get it twice this episode.
We do get it 2 times
in very different manners.
Yes, one was almost a greeting, like a "Hey Butthead,"
little pet name.
And the other one was it's not like you were being a butthead. Like it was an insult.
It's so casually too. It sounded like you were being a butthead. Like just rolled right off her tongue. So that made me more out on it than normal.
Because you just know it's part of the regular vocabulary. Right? Like,
it's part of the daily lexicon.
His face just looked like he was cringing every time he heard
That's
it.
Gotta be a confusing relationship dynamic. Like her calling you butthead, like to greet you, but also
you have no idea what to think.
Yeah. What are you mad at me or am I being
hey
cute,
butthead,
or?
you're just jarred right off the bat when
Exactly.
you're coming home. You're like, oh shit, you're on guard for whatever's coming next. First of all, Coop, you laughed at me when I wrote this down in my notes. my first note of the episode, Gary, was she looks fantastic.
First bullet point.
What's your couple days later?
Always.
I stand by it.
Yeah,
always. Dude, I wrote it like 3 more times. Not just towards her, towards guys when they're looking fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call it out. I would love to write it with a few more guys. I would love the chance to write it towards Joe. Unfortunately, he keeps dressing like he just got home from LA Fitness. God damn, get it together, Joe. We love him, but his wardrobe, he did not come dressed for paradise. But okay, what are your thoughts on the whole Kendall situation? Because I am of the opinion that these conversations were not needed in paradise, not useful in paradise. It's a 2-year relationship. You could have had this conversation off the beach.
Well, exactly. And a comment I made to you, David, I don't remember the exact lines that each of them pulled out, but it was something to the effect that I believe Kendall said, now that we're here, we can finally have some deep conversations. Now, really? You're going to wait till you get on national television on an island to have deep conversations about your relationship? It doesn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense. Like how were you not given the opportunity to talk about these things before? And it did also sound like we were just recycling old conversations.
Well, that's exactly, and that's the way Joe made it seem, because he pretty much said, like, we've had these conversations. Like he kept saying you're leaving a large chunk of this out. Like we've had this conversation. Like it's done. We've been broken up for, again, how long has it been? I forget.
People keep telling us.
I know people keep telling us. I can never remember.
I think it's a year and a half.
Somewhere like that.
Yeah.
Regardless, obviously those conversations had already been had if they're at the points where they are now, especially Joe, where he's fully open to a new relationship.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't really get, and look, I didn't see her season.
Yeah.
I like her. I don't get what she's doing there. I think her time is done.
I think so too.
Because it's such a weird limbo situation of like, are you there for Joe or are you also there to maybe date around?
And you know what? And she didn't clarify that at all too. She very much just bought right into that exact sentiment you just said. She goes, either I'm here for you to see if I can spark things again with you or rekindle.
Did she pull that out, or that's popping in your head?
You pulled that out when I was watching it.
As if you just threw that on me.
Rekindle what they had.
Yeah.
Or I'll see what else is going on the beach. And that's why part of what I think led to Joe being so confused when he was trying to explain it to Serena. Like he didn't really know what to say because he didn't know what she was doing there.
That's a good point, actually, because he is it was weird. He seemed very direct with Kendall in terms of like, okay, well, I'm happy exploring things with Serena. And then he goes to Serena, and we were saying like it sounds like a lot of half promises. You know what I mean? It was weird. And like, hey, I want to pursue things with you. I'm over Kendall. I am totally dedicated to you.
But if this is too much for you,
I'm going to be a part of some weird conversations with my ex, and it might be a little too weird for you. And this is like, stop adding so many qualifiers in there. Like, just stop the conversation.
It was a bit awkward, but
it was awkward. And my last note on it was, like, of course he's dressed like shit too. But I don't know, that like Serena, to me, again, she seems very invested. The fact that she didn't just walk away and was like, okay, I'm willing to stomach this. I don't know. Like, I think says a lot.
Yeah, and her response to everything is never like negative or like salty, or she's never coming off as like upset in any way. She's like very supportive, and like, I think that goes too because they have very good communication, I find, and Joe's very honest towards what's going on, even though he's a little awkward when he tries to explain it. But just like I've seen this time and time again, but especially in that episode, her response to all that jumbled info that Joe gave her was just, like, okay, yeah, all right. Like I'm still committed to you, and I'm still gonna fully buy into that.
She is super mature. We had someone comment earlier this week. Serena is so immature for her age. I have to imagine that's a typo. Because she's 23. It's got to be a typo because she is so rational at every turn. I am an enormous fan of Serena P. Shout out to her. Now, let's dive in. I don't think we need to spend too much time on it. I've heard conflicted. I don't think the people are going to like me very much after this. And that's totally fair. I'm aware this is an unpopular opinion. You don't need to go crazy on me. I'm aware. Noah and Abigail, my first bullet point says just end it. Just end it, dude. Look, Noah, he has read that emotional intelligence book from Bennett. He matured. He listened to what Abigail said and said, you know what? I get where you're coming from. Here's my perspective, blah, blah, blah. They seem to meet in the middle. They ended with a nice makeout. However, I don't see the passion still. I don't see the passion. I don't see the urgency. Again, that's not necessary for every relationship, but maybe it's a gut thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I just don't see it. How about you guys?
I'm with you completely, and I think you knew that too.
Yeah.
It's just if someone comes to you with a conversation that pretty much discusses like the balance of your future relationship with that person, and you can't even sit up, like, it's just, he looked like in that one meme that we sent around to each other where he looked like just a deflated like doll or balloon. Like, it was just really bizarre to me. It's just if both of them were talking about like, no, like I want to make it work, really, because you're slugging it right now, dude. You're slugging it. Sit up there.
Do you know what I think happened? I'm putting on my tinfoil hat real quick.
Ooh.
I don't think they see the passion either. I think they're just playing the game. I think they're just sticking it out. They want to stay in paradise. They want to hang out. They want to be on the beach. You're right.
Maybe not even in a bad way.
Not in a bad way.
No, I don't think it's a bad way, but
like more people come into it, obviously.
Yeah,
so
it's
like,
not against the rules to hand each other friendship roses.
Exactly.
That's not against the rules. That is far more kosher than coming in with a relationship. If there's no passion there, just say, okay, like, let's keep vibing. Maybe we'll connect with someone. Maybe we'll get a bit of a vacation. Inevitably, it will come to the point where one of the hosts, where maybe Wells comes up and he does the speech of like, look, if you don't think you're going to leave with this person in a relationship or engaged or whatever, it's time for you to go. I see them likely going then and just coasting until then. Whatever, fair enough. It's very clear to me they didn't come to the beach in a relationship. It's a little too clear. And so, yeah, I mean, fine, whatever. But for me, when I write just end it, hey, look, I don't mind seeing them canoodle on the beach. It's because I actually really like them too as individuals. And I hope they do find something a bit more with other people. However, quick note, Noah, why you dress like a cult leader, man? What's going on with that?
Too many chains.
He adds another little beaded chain. What the hell's going on? He legitimately looks
adds a chain and unbuttons a button.
He looks like he is leading a retreat for couples who are just about to get divorced. He just, man, weird energy. I feel like he's trying to be the next Dean. Deanie Babies 2.0. He's giving me those vibes.
I can kind of get those vibes.
Just the aesthetic. It's like, but you're not. You're not.
He doesn't have the hair.
He doesn't have the hair. Oh gosh, no, not many do.
No.
Just back to what you're saying, David, about like just end it. I mean, it's just clear that like don't pretend it's something that it's not. If you're going down the road that Gary suggested, and I think that might be the case, if they're just kind of playing the game to go through it, don't act like you're making breakthrough or having these breakthrough conversations. There's another conversation they had a little later on. And it was honestly the quickest conversation. It was maybe 15 seconds. And then they started kissing at the end of it. And then in a confessional, she goes something to the effect that, like, I'm just so glad that we were able to like touch on both of our feelings and understand where we're at and all this. Like, you didn't address that at all in that conversation you just had.
Yeah.
That did not happen.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what happened in their first date too.
Yeah.
Right. They just,
exactly.
they talked about nothing. And then made out
and
We're
pretended
like, oh, man, glad we got through the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You hit 2 pinatas together and then kissed for half an hour. But okay, no one cares about this couple. And people should know, if you're new to the podcast, again, thank you for joining. Second of all, we go through everything chronologically. I understand. This is not the meat and potatoes of this episode. We're about to get there. We gotta touch on Mari, Kenny, Demi, Tia, the love square, ultra rare love square that we're getting during this season. And we're going to touch on them, what happens next episode with Demi pulling her hair across and a couple of curtains hiding behind there. Yeah. So, but we'll get into that next episode. Now, I don't know how I feel. Like, I like Mari, but Kenny brings this up next episode. I don't love the whole idea of, oh, I liked you. Or I didn't realize I liked you until I saw you in somebody else's arms, sort of thing.
I liked you so much, I got scared. That kind of sentiment. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it is, I believe, but she's a flip flopper. Like he's saying, you liked me when I had the rose, and then you wanted to explore options when you had the rose, and now I have the rose again, and here you are.
Want me back.
Yeah, so it's like,
and
okay.
He does allude to this in the second episode. He does say, I'm not saying that I don't trust you, but you can see where that, like, it's hard not to think of that pattern.
It's just fishy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, hey, let's see some more proof to the contrary. But for right now, all I'm saying, a little weird. But I don't know. Like, Demi is she's a tough nut to crack though this season. She is so self-conscious. I mean, it is, and which is, I get it's a tough situation, but what I'm out on, and we see this more next episode, she gets real mean girly. She's calling names. She's saying Mari's evil, that Mari's a pageant girl. Like, wow, what are we doing, Demi? Yeah, I get she's just playing a character. Up. She does play a character to some extent,
sure,
without a doubt. But like, she knows why she's on the show, and then I'm sure it's tough to gauge when you're going a bit too far. I'm sure some people love it unconditionally. For me, it's a little much. I don't know what your thoughts were on Demi, going after every other girl, being like, well, they're not fun, well, they're not, well, me.
Yeah, it's just like you said, it's kind of just more of a reflection of being a little self-conscious, I think, and a little unsure of self-conscious in yourself, but also a lack of confidence maybe in your relationship with Kenny, right?
Well, I mean, man, obviously. Like the worst moment we get this episode, this was maybe one of the most painful moments I've ever seen on the show. She Hail Mary pass, goes, okay, boom, let's go to the boom boom room. Yeah. Let's go right now.
And he says, I kind of just want to sleep.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like,
and she does it again next episode too.
She does. That's her hand.
Yeah. Middle of the day too, maybe even
middle of the day. Yeah, you guys have breakfast.
Yeah. Let me get some sustenance first, dear Lord. All right, but we'll get back to them later. We gotta jump in to Brendan and Pieper. First of all, the makeup people did Brendan so dirty. They left him looking so sweaty, so guilty.
Yeah,
right off
see those
the bat.
Bags too.
Massive bag. Look, let's not beat around the bush. Brendan looked like shit these past 2 episodes. He looked
he's
horrible.
A model,
and he's a model.
He's not a bad looking dude, but
he's not a bad looking dude. I don't really. Maybe it's an in-person thing. I don't really get all the hype. He's definitely handsome. I don't get the hype of like, this guy is beautiful. This guy, and maybe I'm a bit jaded after seeing his personality come to the forefront. But anyways, dude, the fact that Pieper, so basically Pieper comes in, for those who watch the podcast and don't watch the show. Again, I love it. I love it. It's bonkers. But Pieper comes in. Brendan has had a clear, what is, moving slow, but a very clear relationship with Natasha. Make it very clear, like, okay, we are in a semi-committed thing right now. And so Pieper comes down to the beach. There's been rumors of them seeing each other outside of Paradise. He tells her it's only been 2 days. We only hung out twice. Turns out to be 10 times. Those two numbers are not close together. She comes down. She gets a date card. Traditionally, when someone gets a date card, they talk to a bunch of different guys. They say, hey, what's the deal? They talk to the girls. Maybe see who's coupled up. She comes down the stairs, barely says hi to anyone, doesn't miss a beat. She throws Tyrell Burgess into the bushes and goes, Brendan, want to go on a date? And he goes, yes, without skipping a beat. Fishy right off the bat. They both look so guilty. Then they're at dinner, and Pieper goes, so, you know, what do people know about our situation? And Brendan goes, well, I told them the truth about how we hung out a couple of times and how, you know, it was nothing serious.
Like he downplays it big time.
And she goes, well, I think you're downplaying our relationship. You're my boyfriend. And he goes, I just thought that, well, I mean, I think it's unfair that, and so he basically, he's been in his head, he's going, shut the fuck up. I told you this earlier today, Coop. It's like when someone, this is my least favorite shit in the world. It's like when you text someone, like I'm talking some shit about, let's say I'm talking some shit about you, Coop. So I text producer Gary. And producer Gary's in the room. He goes, hey, David, why'd you text me? It's like, oh my God, dude, what are you doing? Oh my God. This is that exact situation where he's like, just stop.
And you can tell he's beating around the bush so hard, trying to and extending it too. I think trying to give a hint to Pieper, just saying like, cut it out. Like, obviously I told them what they wanted to hear, so people aren't going to be pissed off when we come in.
Well, finally dating. He goes, I did what I had to do. And then he makes a joke about like, oh, I emailed you the plan. I should have emailed you the plan. Man, hilarious. I love that. Man, and then it just goes from bad to worse because look, that is scumbaggy. Barstool Trent was making some hilarious tweets yesterday of like, look, we just got to find single people for this show. Like that shouldn't be that hard. That's the only rule. Everything else goes out the window. You can do whatever you want. You can throw cakes in the fire. You can steal people's pinatas. There are no rules. You can't
come in with someone else.
You can't come in a relationship. Just come in single. But even that aside, the biggest crime is, I think Brendan must have been talking to a producer because they would have shown it if he was talking to a contestant. They would have definitely shown who he was talking to. But he is talking and saying, well, it's not like Natasha had any other prospects. Who was going to go for her? I mean, I wasn't keeping her for anything. I was allowing her to stay on the beach with her friends. You dick.
Yeah. Oh my God. Brutal.
What an asshole, man. Completely unnecessary. Then he doubles down later, says it to her.
Says it to her face.
Shut up, man.
Yeah.
What
my God. I don't even want to relive it. Like, there was, when I was watching it, our jaws were literally like dropped open. Because he kept doubling down. Like he'd say one rude, like David said, the whole Pieper thing to begin with is enough of an issue. The fact that he was so arrogant and such a dick about it, he just kept doubling down and digging himself in this deeper hole, saying one thing in the confessional, then saying it to her face. And then when they were laying on the daybed, just Pieper and Brendan, he was just kind of going off. He said, then which I'm sure you're going to bring up, David, but he says something to the notion that, you know what, oh my God, Natasha's been like annoying me so much. It's like, oh my God, dude.
So like people didn't even realize how mad they should be at him in the moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we'll get into it next episode of like, why did they show, like, why were the contestants so mad and basically forced Chris and Alana to leave when Brendan and Pieper did the same thing? Let me give you a couple of reasons here. And I'm going to put on my tinfoil hat real quick, okay, for one of them. My first one is I think people heard Chris talking about the followers. You know what I mean? That was apparently a thing that everyone heard. Now, Pieper and Brendan obviously talked about it even to a further extent. Insane how Pieper, first of all, Pieper going, do you remember when I hit 80K?
Yeah. Oh my
You're
God.
a nobody. Who gives a shit about 80K? Who are you? 80,000 followers. Who cares? There are little flagship stores in New York that have more followers than 80K. Like, I don't know. You're a nobody. But so I think the fact that people missed out on that was big. The fact that people missed out on
only the two of them were privy to that conversation.
Exactly.
And from the microphone, obviously.
Man, they're talking about like, oh, Brendan, your name is literally going to be everywhere after this poll. It's very disgusting. Like,
if
everyone
the other
knows,
contestants heard that whole thing, I think the episode we saw last night would have been completely different.
Probably. And like, everyone knows people come on these shows for followers. That's nothing new, but we don't want to hear about it. Don't bring me behind the curtain. The other thing is, and tinfoil hat on. So one thing I mentioned to you, Coop, is Brendan and Pieper screwed over the show, not just, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, who knows? Who knows? Maybe the show was in on it. Like, I don't know. It's weird because if they knew they were dating, then why did they bring, or they suspected it, why would they bring Pieper on?
One of the things we discussed when we were watching this episode is, and you brought this up, part of the reason that you thought that they were maybe airing out everything that Brendan was saying kind of behind the scenes kind of stuff was their way of getting back at him, saying like, you're going to screw us over, like screw the show over by coming on here and fooling us that you weren't in a relationship when you really are.
Yeah.
Then we're going to just show whatever we're allowed to show. We'll show it all then.
To screw him over and be like, you want to fuck with the show? All right, there we go. And which I think is the case. And also, I don't think they would do that to Natasha, who is like,
for sure,
she hosts on Bachelor Nation. Like, she's under the Bachelor umbrella. Like, that's a pretty crazy thing to do to someone who's essentially your employee. But my tinfoil hat theory is that there's a reason why the producers did not probably tell the other contestants all the info about Brendan and Pieper the same way they did about Chris and Alana. It's because, hey, Chris and Alana, you are very interesting to watch crash and burn because you're a nobody, right? So if we can turn you into a somebody for the sake of drama, well, then let's do it.
Yeah.
Brendan, on the other hand, look, he's losing followers like crazy, which I love. But like, coming into the season, he was at like 300K. He's one of the marquee names they got for this season. Yeah. So they want to draw this drama out. They don't want them getting kicked off the beach right away. So maybe they were like, hey, let's pull this stuff back. I think it's going to bubble up next episode.
For sure. It's just pretty much stretch it out and put a filler episode in between so we can extend this a bit more.
Whether you're a hero or a villain, you're still a star. So you better stay in front of that camera and dance, my man. Yeah. So, I mean, quick quote of the episode from Joe, in my opinion. He goes, I guess that's just the power of social media. Okay, Grandpa.
Such an old thing to say.
Such an old man.
Just the power of social media.
I guess that's just the power of social media. It's all about the followers. When I was growing up, we didn't have followers. We just had a little wooden spoke that we would push around.
We'd kick around for some fun.
Yeah, we would kick around the round ball into the kids' basket. I used to do my paper route 8 hours for a nickel. God damn. Okay, Joe, give it a
that
rest.
accent's going south quick. I don't know.
We're moving all over the country. All right.
All over the world.
I want to touch on real quick with Natasha, though. She is so relentlessly rational, and as he's being hurtful, he kept bringing up how she had no other option. Such a douche. We got to touch on the gaslighting real quick, though, because there's one line where he goes, I just think you have selective hearing.
Oh my, I completely forgot about that line. Thank you for bringing that up.
I mean, the definition of gaslighting. He's pretty much saying you've made up this whole relationship in your head.
He's like, I just think that you have selective hearing. You choose what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Well, he's trying to say that he said something he never, ever said.
Never said.
And then do you remember at one point he goes, well, I said that, yada, yada, yada. And she goes, you didn't say that. He goes, well, I didn't say that, but.
Yeah. Basically being like, well, you got me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try my next line now. He man. Yeah. I mean, the biggest scumbag. I will say, like, as someone who I kind of make fun of little things, like I've made fun of certain meditative practices unfairly, but like Natasha is such a spiritual meditative person, like believes in the sort of stuff that I would unfairly poke fun at. Well, there we go. I'm an idiot because clearly it's working for her. Like, she just is so happy. It's just neat to see someone who preaches those sort of mantras. Some of them maybe seem like cliches, whatever, and they work for her. Like, she just is a very at peace human being. And I was very, 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 very impressed. Yeah. So I don't know. Pieper, good luck. Because if she's watching TV and like, look, you're a master's student, you should be smart enough to realize if he's talking to her like that, Just wait for your first conflict. He'll be talking to you like that. You're not special. You are going to be getting the same treatment that she got. All right, let's jump into our roses and our thorns and our couple of the episode, if you guys are ready. Producer Gary, kick us off with what's your rose? Let's start positive here on a very
hard to find
negative episode. Yes.
I'm gonna say it. Just Joe and Serena P. They're also gonna be my couple of the episode. They're gonna be my rose too. They're kind of like the mom and the dad. They're just kind of holding it down. They're holding everyone accountable. Even in next episode, we see Joe really step up and give it to Chris. But I just think they're holding it down they're looking out for everybody. Really, is what. Yeah,
you know, one thing I love about them too is they're confident enough with each other that we don't always just see them like kind of doing their own thing together. They still have fun with everybody else. Like they're always hanging out. Like Joe's still hanging out with like the other girls, just kind of like obviously casually hanging out. And like everyone's just very
same with Riley too.
Yeah, Riley's the exact same way.
I love Riley.
Those two couples are very, like I said, confident in the relationships. The fact that to the point that they can still have just a good time on the beach, which is what I love, and being immersed in kind of everything.
Yeah,
that's a great one. Again, I went back to it. Well, first of all, I'm going to go with, I always cheat. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to go with two quick ones here. Kenny's juggling skills. I just think that the way that like he is handling this is actually really mature. Like this is tough to deal with. And he's got two very strong personalities that we'll get into more in a couple minutes. But Mari and Demi, two different, and Tia just seems lovely, super easy to deal with and communicate with. But I think he's doing it very maturely.
I think so too.
I think he's doing it about as best as you can do it.
I think he's doing it well. And second, I don't need to get into it. I touched on it. Just Natasha's spirituality. Like again, those are the sort of cheesy mantras that I would normally make fun of. And she actually puts them into practice in a time when she had no need to be gracious.
Well, there's a difference between somebody just saying them and then not putting them into practice in the real world. And then she just did it right in front of all of us. So like.
By the way, I don't know if you saw it, guys. There was also a movement last night to see if Brendan, like if people could unfollow Brendan enough and follow Natasha enough for them to switch roles. Because she was like, I think she was like at least 150,000 follower difference between them.
Well, I know she gained probably almost over 100,000.
Dude, like, she flew by him.
Yeah.
Like, really? She has like 100,000 more than him now. It was like an enormous turnaround. Look it up. Fact check me, Coop. But she passed him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she has 329,000.
Yeah, she had less than 100K before all this went down. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
So. Which is like also jarring, right? To wake up to like it's good, but it always turns at some point. So I would be worried of like, oh my gosh, this is a lot at once. But that being said, I'm sure, especially for the podcast brand, it's great for her career and everything, and we're happy for her. Now, I'll give you the honors, Gary. Hit us with a thorn. Feel free to steal that low-hanging fruit if you want.
Okay, I'm taking it then. If you're gonna give it to me, I'm gonna take it. We're gonna give it to Brendan specifically, but also Pieper gets lumped in with that, obviously. Gotcha. And I don't even think I have to explain myself here.
No, I think you nailed it. Yeah, douchebag central. All right, Coop, what you got?
Yeah, this is gonna be a collective thorn, I think, from the podcast, an overarching theme here. It's just got to go to them. Yeah,
I think we can all be in agreement there. I'm gonna specifically those extra shots at Natasha.
For sure.
Be selfish, man. Whatever. I get you manipulating the show. They're trying to manipulate you. Whatever. You want a free vacation. It's bullshit. I hate to see it. Get them off my screen. But then the extra shots at Natasha, completely unnecessary. I'm gonna add one more in. Butthead. Never want to hear it again. I hope I heard it for the last time. I didn't see it in any promos. Thank God. I'm hoping that's the last of Butthead. All right, couple of the episode. You said Joe and Serena, Gary. That's who you're going with?
Yep.
All right. Coop, what you got?
See, there's not many. I'm trying to go something different than Joe and Serena and Riley and Marissa.
Yeah.
But like those are like obviously the easy ones to pick. Yeah. So I'm going to pick a couple I don't want to see together anymore as my couple I want to see break up soon as kind of a prelude to the next episode. Kenny, get away from Demi. You got to get gone, my guy.
Yeah.
You got to break free.
Save yourself, my guy. Save yourself. I like that one. And I like, because, hey, couple of the episode means whatever it means to you. So to me, I frame it as like, to me, we used to do this with our Gossip Girl podcast, Gary. It doesn't mean the couple you like the most, doesn't mean the couple you're rooting for.
Sure.
To me, it could mean the most significant couple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving it to
I know you are.
I'm giving it to Brendan
Pieper,
and Pieper because look, I hate them. I want them gone, but they defined this episode. They dominated this episode. Yeah. This episode was all about them. So okay, let's jump in. You catch that one, RW? You catch that one? All right, let's jump into episode 7. All right. Oh, my bad. I guess this is where we get Tyrell Burgess. Not really. I'm not really familiar with his work. I'll be honest, I don't mean to be disrespectful. He's on the Kimmy Schmidt show. I'm not big on, I don't know, but he's by far, in my opinion, the most charismatic host thus far. Does he always speak in spoken words and Irish riddles though? I'm wondering.
I kind of like it. I'm down for it.
I liked it a lot, but I did expect him to perhaps pop out of a lamp later because he might be a genie. I don't know. This guy is mystical. I like him a lot.
They should have got him instead of Will Smith to play the genie in Aladdin, dude.
Yeah. Yes.
He would have been way better.
There were some cue cards being held up for that man, right? There had to have been.
He's on Broadway, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I agree with producer Gary. I think that guy, I think he really memorized him because he was invested.
Yeah.
He was.
He really took it like a Broadway play. The whole applaud, hold your applause. Oh man, the guy had me on the edge of my seat. I was into it. But we kick off the episode right away with that Mari, Kenny, Demi love triangle once again. Look, why is I love when people are in drama, and we get this a lot with Aaron looking at Thomas, and we'll get this later this episode, where people are in drama and then they look for any reason to hate them. Mari is pissed at Demi and she goes, Demi thinks she can just do whatever she wants and go to the party. She was invited to the party. What's she supposed to do? That's not her fault. Like, hey, look, I'm not a huge fan of Demi on this this week, I guess the last few weeks, but come on now. What I will say though, and we'll get back into them after the party because that's where we kind of get Kenny breaking the news to her.
Yeah.
Mari has become a very strong rival. Like, she has held her own. Demi is not an easy person to go up against. I would argue almost no one in Bachelor Nation could. What have your thoughts been on Mari really holding her own, throwing the cake in the fire, going back and forth with her?
At the very beginning, just because I knew a lot about Demi, relatively, obviously.
Yeah.
And I knew how much of a personality she was. I thought that Mari was going to just, like anybody would, probably shrink next to her and shrivel up after.
Because we didn't see her that much.
No, we didn't. And specifically not in any sort of like conflict, right?
No, a bit with Katie and the whole dildo situation.
A little
not
bit.
Really.
But not
really.
Yeah, not too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a huge surprise this season is how she's, maybe it took her an episode or two, but she's kind of picked herself back up and is fighting right back.
I think she actually is. I think Demi meant it as an insult, but I think she literally is a pageant girl. She knows how to take the heat. Yeah. And this has turned into quite the heavyweight bout that has been a little fun sideshow this season. But then, okay, we dive into the VIP party. So I think we can admit that Tammy is legitimately terrifying.
Yeah.
Right? She's
even the people that she's dating, quote unquote, like even Thomas is like, oh, she's gonna rip my head off.
Oh, she might. Yeah. Also, Tammy, hey, buck up. Because you can't tell people, oh, be tougher, blah, 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 and then be crying in the sand. Same with Marissa, right? It's Marissa?
Yeah.
Dear Lord, you met him 5 days ago?
Yeah.
You met
him 5 days ago and also have one of the strongest relationships that we can see on the beach right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. Take a couple breaths. Also, hilariously innocent parting for Riley. Like, he could not have been, like, he's dancing and he just kept in his own little box. Like, he's so not touching anybody. Yeah. He's just an honorable dude. Awesome. I love him. Yeah, okay. First of all, what were you guys' thoughts on the club? I'm not a club guy. Even that looked a little bit dry for me. Oh my gosh, that looked lame.
Yeah, that looked terrible.
My favorite part is they walk in, they're like, oh, it's a club. And I'm like, Really?
Is it?
You guys
Or
you could tell?
Is it a conference room with some colored light bulbs put in instead? Dude, it looked like an old like grade school dance.
I would be surprised if there was little to no music. I know we got music like from our perspective, but just the way Burgess comes in and he goes like this and the music just stops perfectly.
Yeah.
It like obviously was put in like post-production that specific music, which makes me think
they were
like
in silence.
I think they were just kind of sitting at those tables in silence when he walked up there.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, we do get some music at some point. Obscure Bachelor magical appearance or a musical.
Oh
appearance.
yeah.
Olivia Holt. Look, apparently, I don't know. I think she's actually kind of big. I think she's on a show, Cruel Summer. I don't know the show.
I don't know.
To me, she is I don't care, man. To me, she is a Bachelor obscure musical appearance. How about you guys?
Well, obviously.
The song honestly, the song kind of slapped in my opinion. Of course, it
both
had
her songs kind of slapped.
The emotional depth of a puddle, but I like it was, we can dance tonight because tomorrow don't exist. It's just tonight. It's like it's nothing music. It's like eating like just a wafer cracker and calling that sustenance. But my next note here confirmed: Chris is a dork. On like grade 8 dork, right?
Dork.
Even before the whole Alana situation, I did not like him, right? Am I on record? Like I was on the right side of history.
You were on record saying.
And then I said that we put a clip on our YouTube saying the first lines that I say is, okay, time for me to eat some humble pie. I was wrong. Apparently he has some appeal that I still don't get, but I don't know. I guess certain women are into that. But what a scumbag. First of all, I'm not trying to insult anyone. But Alana over Jasenia? What are we talking about? Am I crazy? Did he get kicked in the head by a horse? What?
Just the way he left to go have that initial conversation, he like kind of nudges Jasenia on the shoulder and goes, BRB. He literally didn't say be right back. He says BRB.
He says BRB?
He says BRB.
That's inexcusable.
Yep.
That's the
little nudge. BRB, then heads off.
Oh man, he honestly has the charisma of a jellyfish, like a dried up jellyfish stranded on the beach. Like of Eeyore. Yeah, that's what you were saying yesterday, right? Yeah, I mean, dude, I couldn't. First of all, I didn't like Alana ever since she did the Lady and the Tramp bit with Matt, where she brought the spaghetti night one and forced him into a kiss. I hate that. I hate any bit when you enter the show and force someone to kiss you. Not a fan. But dude, how do you kiss? Look, maybe you can kiss her, whatever. But to then on the dance floor, you know she's right there, and to just kiss her without even thinking about the person you've been hanging out with for days, you're a scumbag, man.
With days, and you came there with, and you didn't even have a conversation with. You said BRB, and there was no conversation in between the first initial conversation with Alana and their kiss. Yeah. They just all of a sudden returned to the dance floor together and started kissing. Like, what's Jasenia supposed to do? And that
so
rubbed
unnecessarily
everyone the wrong way. Everyone was upset at that.
Do you want to hear? Here's a little take. I just thought of it now. To me, honestly, that screams a dude who doesn't get girls, who is not used to having two women into him and just handle in the worst way possible. Like, dude, you have zero game, Chris.
I know part of this was a show he put on the next day, but like when he sobered up a bit, it looked like he was thinking to himself, like, "Oh my god, what have I done?"
Yeah, I think so. But and
also he overplayed that enormously.
Yeah,
dude, you're not getting the pity.
Like, you're not getting the pity party. Like, we don't feel bad for you.
Yeah, and we'll jump back into Jasenia and Chris, because that was that we're not done. We're not done there. But the next day, we see the Mari, Kenny, Demi love triangle basically come to a conclusion. I honestly, it just goes to show, in my opinion, that we don't see everything. Like, he was so locked into Mari after the party. He was like, okay, I know who I want. And I think it's just very clear that, I mean, it sucks, but I think, and it doesn't mean that she's not a well-rounded person, that she's not awesome in her own right. I don't know her. But in that instance, Demi, you were a rebound. That's what you were. Sorry, I know that's an ego hit, but you were the rebound for someone who felt rejected and you welcomed him in with open arms. That sucks. It doesn't make him evil. It means he was a little reckless with your feelings when he was feeling emotionally vulnerable.
Sure.
Doesn't make him a villain. I don't know. What were your thoughts on Demi handling what was essentially a breakup, essentially yet another rejection?
Yeah, and like you said, we don't necessarily see a lot of it because obviously they must have had some conversations at that party. We saw none of the two of them together at the party, but he came back from that party realizing, my sights are set on Mari, obviously.
Well, maybe he also thought like, I'm not in love with the girl who's in the middle of the dance floor the whole time. Not saying that's wrong on her part, but it's like, hey, I want someone who I can talk to on the side of the dance floor.
Regardless of what it was, he left there with some clarity.
Yeah.
And Demi handled it probably the way I expected.
Yeah.
Crying. Well, not even crying. It was just like this weird kind of like screech while she covered her eyes with her hair. And then just started kind of going on the offensive towards Kenny, calling him like the most immature 40-year-old she's ever met. Yada,
I mean, the hair thing was wild. It was very much. You remember that scene from The Office where Erin is out with Michael, and some people will remember this, and she gets some bad news about her boyfriend. So she covers her face and her hair in the middle of the restaurant, and he goes, "What are you doing?" When I was in the orphanage, my hair was my room. And just, what is going on? And Demi, she couldn't make it up to the boom boom room, so she made her own little mini boom boom therapy room right on the daybed there within her own hair. Look, Demi, you are fun, you are playful. Sometimes people want more than fun. Sometimes that's what a relationship is.
And she kept saying that too.
Fun.
And it's kind of escaped me, but like I said, she was going on the offensive towards Kenny, but also just going at Mari. Like her whole pitch, which is very bizarre to me, her whole pitch from the beginning was why Mari's not good enough. She's like, Mari's just a mean like person. She's this, she's that. Like, I'm so much more fun. And Kenny's just like, whoa, like Demi, like just chill. Like, okay, I hear you. Like, just chill out.
Yeah.
And also, to some people, that's not fun. Like, I don't know if you guys caught it.
Yeah.
But Mari was like, "Oh, how's the party?" And Kenny's like, "Oh, I had to dance all night or whatever." And so
that's not his
thing. He doesn't like to dance. That's not his thing.
Like he's 40.
Demi. Yeah,
he's 40. He probably wants to slow it down. Like, yes, that's just great. But at some point, I got to take my vitamins and go for a walk around the block, get these old joints rolling again. Like, I got to slow down. I don't know if, they're just not meant to be together. Also, look, we're critiquing Demi, and I stand by it. Yeah, she's just saying a bunch of stuff in a heartbreak, right? Rejection sucks. Sure. She's being emotional. But at the same time, this isn't your first rodeo. I think you could probably.
I think she might have a legendary
turnaround,
though. Like, I think she's just gonna go steal someone else. I think
maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, she could get anyone. Yeah, I mean, James is in her back pocket permanently, right? Like, she'll get a rose.
James is free real estate for anybody.
Yeah, I mean, my man James, he's still there.
He went to the party too,
there.
Did he not?
He was at the party.
He's still there.
He won't be next rose ceremony.
He's got a rose, buddy boy.
No, after that one.
Yeah,
when it goes back to the girls.
We don't know who's coming in. His soulmate might come in.
There's no
came into the party, and James left with nobody. Like, James, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, come on, James, shape up. Come on, man. He was probably calling Aaron the whole time, FaceTiming.
Yo, I miss you,
dude.
This
It's totally dry in here, dude. There's like way too many chicks. None of the
bros are here.
None of the bros are here.
Trey won't pick up.
Greg's busy in LA. Yeah, Trey won't pick up. All right, let's jump back into Jasenia and Chris. It's the finale, right? No. They then have a conversation the next morning. Yeah, I mean, Jasenia, very mature. She basically says, I just can't trust him as a partner or a friend. Yeah. And then we get was maybe my quote of the episode from Aaron. What does he say? I had it written down here. He goes, yeah, I'm going to say I'm on some gang shit with Jasenia right now and don't like Alana, which was fantastic. I don't know, dude. Sometimes I love Aaron.
Yeah.
Not only does he not like to be disrespected, he just hates disrespect, period. If someone's being disrespected, he hates it.
And you know who else is in the same boat as that? Riley. Riley doesn't stand for
Riley doesn't like dishonor.
Dishonorable men.
Yeah. He does not like dishonorable men. No, I respect it, man. The man's got to have a code. Man's got to have a code.
And boy, does he have one.
He literally said that line. He said, you have no code. And Chris, that hit Chris right in the heart. He goes,
Chris was gonna cry.
Was I supposed to pack a coat? I didn't. I only brought 3 shirts. I think I forgot my coat at home, bro. Like, Chris and Alana as well. They go on their date. I've never I don't understand. His whole thing is like, oh, there was a spark there,
dude.
That there wasn't with Jasenia.
Did you watch that date?
I've never seen 2 people have less physical chemistry in my life.
When they're like standing next to each other, he like looks down there. I can't remember what he says, something cheesy, and like there's just a blank slate on her face, like nothing, no,
well, dude,
no
when they're
emotion.
trying to kiss. When they're trying to kiss, they can't get the right angle.
Can't get the right angle.
Oh my god!
And then he's like, you know why I don't miss what's going on the beach today? She's like, why? And he goes, because I'm here with you. Really, dude? Nice.
Dude, painfully awkward. This dude has 0 game. I would love to have him on the podcast just to have a 2-minute call and be like, hey, Chris, you have 0 game. Hang up. It doesn't need to be 2 minutes. That's all I got to say, my man. The dude, I don't know. I just think he's lame. And can I put my tinfoil hat back on, though? Because
it's getting pretty used, but
we love Jasenia on this pod. Right?
Yeah.
Right,
yes,
Gary?
Yeah.
However, so we're saying Chris and Alana came down with a plan to meet each other, correct? I think that's the case.
I don't think I'm fully convinced of it, but
yeah.
Well, maybe they had a plan, but they weren't.
Maybe not a set plan. No, they weren't. I don't think they were dating, and I don't think it was a set plan. But I don't think
the plan was necessarily as put together as Pieper and Brendan.
Yeah. No. Neither do I. But I think they did. They had a history.
They had a general idea that
planning on seeing each other,
sure,
and no one else really.
Yeah,
I think they were like, okay, let's see each other to a full extent. I think our guy Chris came in with 2 plans. I think he had talked with Jasenia before the show extensively. We had a listener throw out that theory a couple weeks ago, and I said it was a hot take. I said, I don't know if I believe that, but I thought about it last night. I think that he was messaging both of them, that he had hung out with both of them multiple times before the show started, and that he found himself caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Well,
he wasn't expecting both of them to come down, was forced to choose, and that's why Jasenia was so thrown off.
Interesting you say that, because the next morning that I alluded to, when he's pouting on the beach by himself, and Tammy walks up to him, says like, what the hell did you do?
Yeah.
And it jumps to a confessional where he goes, I came to this beach for Jasenia. Like, I came to this beach with Jasenia in mind, and I just kind of like threw that away.
Yeah.
Which,
I honestly think that he thought, like, I'm gonna, I'll just raise my odds of making it through. Maybe because he knows he has 0 games. Like, okay, I need a head start with not only 1 girl but 2, and he just happened to make it through. And which sucks, because poor Ivan, Jasenia, what could have been? What could have been? Hey, Murray, take note. The grass is not always greener. Sometimes on the other side of that fence, it's just a dude named Chris with 0 fucking game. It's tough, very tough. But then we jump back. We do get Chris versus what I call the jury. He just has basically a jury of his peers rip him the fuck apart. Did you guys have any other notes on that morning, or do you want to jump quickly into Aaron and Chelsea's date? Because Chelsea comes in.
We can jump into that.
I honestly have one bullet point. Chelsea. Do you want to guess what it is?
Your bullet point?
Yeah.
She's looking excellent.
She's looking tall.
Same thing. It says she looks fantastic.
She looks fantastic.
She looks fantastic. She came in. She looks beautiful. Hair looks beautiful. Outfit was fabulous. Spectacular. Big fan of Chelsea. But what I will say, I didn't write this down, but it's coming to me now. Aaron. I mean, try having some confidence, my man. Confidence is sexy. I get being self-deprecating. I understand that you're with a model and being like, oh, rock solid abs. Oh, I'm a soft 6. All this thing. Like, dude, just chill out. Stop.
Yeah, there was a few times
that you don't deserve her.
He alluded to that a few times too. Obviously, with the one saying like I'm what do you
punching above my weight,
punching above my weight class, and then the first question he asked her when they sit down is like, so like what made you interested in me?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, dude, come on, man, you gotta start with something a little stronger.
Do that with like everyone too, but like especially a supermodel, she probably hears that shit all the time from
all the
everybody.
time.
Yeah. It's like, bro,
be the confident guy with the great personality. Be the guy who's like, I don't know.
And she literally said beforehand, when she asked him on the date, she goes, you know, I hear that you're like a really fun, awesome guy to be around.
Also, who told it? Who told her that? No, I actually think Aaron is fun. We keep getting tough edits.
I think we do like Aaron.
Yeah, I'm pro Aaron. He's just so hilarious to poke fun at. But yeah, basically, I do like them together. Aaron, man, you've got some of the most coveted women on the beach going after you. Holy smokes. Is it just me? I don't know if I have anything written down with Becca and Thomas. I actually have that did you guys have anything else from the Aaron and Chelsea date that you wanted to touch on? Pretty nothing date.
It was pretty straightforward. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into Becca and Thomas. Look, like, of course, Becca likes Thomas because Aaron and Thomas can't escape each other. It's absurd how deep these ties go. I don't know, man. It's tough. I don't know how I feel about Thomas. I don't hate him. I do not hate him. I think there's no reason this season to hate him. He had that one comment towards Trey. That's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I was thinking that too last night. Like overall this season, like Thomas, up to this point anyways, has been fairly good, given the reputation he had going into the season.
Yeah. Is he charming? Is he a good match with Becca, or is he just tall? I don't know if he's just super good looking.
He's tall.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's what it is. I think he's tall and good looking. Like I think.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote down too. It does suck for Tammy, but unfortunately, I love it. Like I feel like we get this every season where someone leaves someone for someone new, and then that new person turns around and burns them. We just saw that with Jasenia and Chris. We're seeing that again now with Tammy and Thomas.
And what did Aaron say? He goes, I don't know why no one listens to me. I know Thomas like no one else knows that guy. Like I tried to tell everybody, no one's listening.
Also, though, you're wrong, Aaron. He's not being a scumbag. Like, what are the qualms here? He got asked on a date. Tammy said you should go. She told Becca you should kiss him if you want to. Like, okay, so go on the date. What are we talking about? This is a former bachelorette. You're gonna say no? I don't know. I just think it is weird. But I will say though, it does feel to me that Becca is still just above this show. Like, go find love elsewhere. Same with Kendall. Like, Kendall, I also think you're a quality girl. I'm not saying the others aren't quality girls. That's not what I mean. But I just mean, like, it seems like this is not your vehicle to find love.
I completely agree with that.
I think Becca feels that way. Because she was like, I haven't done this in a while. I've never received a rose. I'm only giving them out. It's like,
then she said something to the effect that, you know, it's one thing to be the bachelorette, but to now be on this side of it, it's a complete you get it.
Well, that's what you signed up for. So go date. You're beautiful and successful and probably coveted by every man in the world. All right, don't come here there. We have got to beg for a rose your second weekend. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I think I love her, but like, even now Tia seems whatever. Other guys are going to come down, but it just feels like there are a few girls who are just in limbo. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, I love Tia's personality. I don't want her to go anywhere. But then, did you guys have any other notes on Becca and Thomas? No? All right, beautiful. I got Chris versus the jury now.
Yeah.
Let's dive in. This is the meat of this episode. Joe, full on alpha male. He goes alpha male immediately.
The second they come back.
He basically pulls Chris aside, tells him, like, look, we got to have a talk. Get down here. And then he basically asks Chris a question. Chris mumbles an answer. And Joe goes, you got to speak up in like a full on tough uncle voice. Like, just makes him feel so sorry.
And then Chris goes, oh. And then starts speaking louder. Like Joe is in such control there. Like Chris would have said anything or responded to anything Joe asked.
Joe could have been like, dance, and he would have fucking he would have said,
like, what's your mother's maiden name?
What's your social security number?
I think it's, let me grab my wallet.
But man, here's my beef though, because I know we don't have all the info on how much they knew about Brendan and Pieper and that nonsense. Dude, Joe, my man, you host a podcast with Natasha. She's your good friend. You've known her for years. where is this energy for her?
Why is that energy firstly not channeled into that? Because that was, I mean, obviously, like we discussed, we were privy to a lot more information than necessarily the whole cast was, but that was, the same situation on steroids.
Yeah, I it's tough. Like, it is hilarious how they're spending their energy on two people who couldn't matter less in the Bachelor universe, right? It's like, okay, whatever. They're trying to get more followers. They could probably use more followers. Like, fair enough. They no one knows who they are. Maybe who care? I'm against it. Jasenia got burned, but I think it's a little bit of people not wanting to stand up to their friends and not wanting to stand up to their friends of friends, because Pieper has a lot of connections. So does Brendan. He's got Ivan, he's got Kenny, he's got all these guys from the season. So but they're kind of taking a step back.
When you have two nobodies, you can just gang up on them.
Exactly.
And not have any repercussions. Yeah.
I mean, that's the truest form of standing up for a value, is actually standing up when it's tough, not when everyone's going to gang up and be on your side. Again, I'm happy with the sentiment. It's just like, where is that energy for?
Sure. I'm curious to see next week.
I think next week we are going to get it.
Yeah.
I wrote down, I couldn't love Riley anymore as well. Oh man.
He has some awesome quotes in that.
You texted me a couple. Do you remember them?
Yep, I have them actually right here.
All right, pull them up. Go ahead.
So Riley very much comes in as like almost the muscle in that in that conversation, quite literally. And he goes, "You wanted to ride, fool? Then let's see y'all ride together."
Yeah, I love that. Let's see y'all ride together.
And then he ends off the conversation. Chris mumbles some like excuse to why things went down the way they did, and then Riley kind of gives Joe a tap, as in like, "Joe, let's get going. This guy's not worth our time." And he goes, "I'm off this clown, man."
Yeah, I love it, man. He is
he's
funny
amazing
and eloquent, and I don't know. I'm just like
everything he says
Riley
sounds
fan.
Like scripted. Like it's just that good.
You get like, he is such a lawyer. Like he just is. He has so many fantastic one-liners. And when he's talking to Serena P, like the next morning or whatever. He is so emotionally mature. It's like he's so right. That is what liars do. They convince themselves that
they convince themselves the lies of the truth.
Yeah. Let me say this though. I think there is some weird history between Alana and Jasenia. Like Alana comes down the next day. Jasenia immediately takes a dig at her outfit. She immediately takes a dig at the fact that, the way that they interacted in San Diego was embarrassing. I think part of it was they both knew, maybe they didn't get along during Matt's season. I know Alana was gone very, very early, but maybe they have a little bit of history. Everyone from those past couple seasons lives in San Diego, so maybe they've interacted a couple times. I think part of it was not about Chris, because why would it be, but more about just being competitive with one another a little bit.
Yeah. That could have raised the stakes for sure.
A little bit of just getting into it. But then again, at the end of the day, Chris goes, chats with Jasenia. Chats with Alana. They have the most uncomfortable conversation of all time, where it's like, "You've ruined my experience. Like, everyone hates me here now. How could I stay?"
It was so weird. Like, Chris thought, I think Chris thought it was so much more than it was between them. Like, Chris thought like they were locked up and they were like ride or die for each other.
She's like, "I want to be on TV. Yeah, that's why I'm here."
And he's like, "I just want to know if you want to leave with me." And she got so mad.
It's like,
no. I just got here 24 hours ago, which is like, obviously, if you two were like together and tight and dating,
they're not boyfriend and girlfriend.
It would be a no-brainer. You'd say, "Yeah, let's leave."
Yeah.
Clearly, that's not what they are, and Chris looked like he was a little thrown back by that.
Yes, very much so. Well, I mean, we get the greatest,
and then we get the
greatest quote of all time. So Chris goes down. They're both leaving. First of all, Alana brought a single purse. What is in there? You couldn't even fit like a travel toothbrush and toothpaste in there. She brought nothing, I suppose. Carrying her little backpack, gets in the car. Then Chris goes to get in the same car. He throws his bags in beside Alana, and she looks at them. She goes, "Chris, this is not your car."
And he doesn't even say a word.
He doesn't say a word. He
just like kind of looks all like mopey eyed and picks up his bags and goes to the next car.
was honestly.
I've never seen anybody manhandled like that on television. Not even just
from beginning to
just
end too.
yeah, beginning to end.
Everybody.
Not even just from Alana, just from everybody on that
and
beach.
He came in so confident. I was laughing at this guy. I feel so vindicated.
Him and Chasen, they're like smoke bros, and then fucking both of them just get booted.
Oh, just immediately. He came in being like, Ivan should be worried. And I was laughing at him. Then I looked like an idiot. Well, how the tables have turned, my man. Look who, oh man, he just got slapped around by everybody on the beach within 20 minutes. Very, very, very tough to see. But yeah, I mean, again, to quote Barstool Trent, there's got to be a way to get single people on this show. Like, holy shit, man.
Got to be a vetting process a little.
There's got to be deeper. A vetting process. We got to figure this out. We had someone comment. They're very frustrated at Bachelor production. They think they're canoodling in this nonsense and a part of bringing people on. I disagree, but I don't know. There's got to be a better way. I hate it. Mm-hmm. This is not fun. It's not fun. I want to see people get together and break up, not people just come for a free vacation. And sometimes it works out like that. This confrontation is going to get old real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So did you guys have any more notes from that Chris confrontation? I do have one. Just looking ahead from the promo, I am relieved to see that we do have Little John entering to help us navigate these murky waters, this emotionally complex situation.
I love how, I don't know if you guys saw this, but like they were having some like super deep emotional talk, and then it immediately cuts to Little John entering. He's like, yeah. Like, bro, what are you doing here? Like, this is not your place.
They should have had him come in first. They should have had him come in first.
I think he'd be a good first day host, honestly. Like,
fantastic.
Get the people pumped up, ready to go.
They honestly should have gone. Here's my order. They go David Spade, Lil Jon, Tyrell Burgess, Lance Bass.
Yeah,
that would be my order.
Yeah,
you gotta end with some substance. That's when people. I can't have people deciding whether they want to get engaged or not.
With
and
Lil Jon
going. She said, "Oh yeah." Dear Lord, please call me Lil. Mr. John is my father. I had to. I'm sorry, listeners. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. Now let's jump into our roses, our thorns, and our couple of the week, and we'll close this out. Gary, let's start with you. Let's get those negative thoughts out of the way. What's your thorn this episode?
The clout chasing, man. I know it's a thing. I know it happens. I know Paradise is a good spot to clout chase, but keep it behind the curtain. Don't
this
stop
podcast is doing it right
wall,
now,
man.
Yeah.
Like,
keep it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Especially
when you're mic'd up 24/7, maybe don't talk about it.
Idiots.
Yeah.
How did Brendan think covering his mic was going to work?
So
first of all, you're so dumb. You dumb boy. You little dumb boy. Like, you are so stick to modeling. Like, he's just trying to oh man, couldn't believe it. All right, Coop, what you got?
Yeah, very similar. Like, I feel like this episode was so it was just encompassed by one thing. It's gonna have to go to Chris specifically for me. I just don't like
game, dude.
I just don't like guys with no game. No, that's not my point. I just the way Riley said it best. You know what? Like, you got no code. Yeah, guys with no code.
Man's got to have a code.
I don't mess with it.
No. Fair enough. Again, I'm gonna cheat as is tradition and go a few quick rapid fire ones. The club. Hated it. Hated the club. No rose ceremony. That's a little one.
Yeah.
It was jam-packed episodes,
was packed.
but I miss having that closure at the end of an episode. And last one, Natasha's justice being shoved under the rug. Justice for Natasha, man. And she's received it. She's getting the love on social media. But I need it next week. I need those friends to stand up more than just Instagram stories the next day after they feel guilty.
Yeah.
All right, Gary, what you got for a rose?
Joe and the gang, Joe and the prosecution,
Joe and the prosecution.
Oh, yeah.
That shit was just so good. And having Riley by your side, a real lawyer in that situation, just like icing on the cake, man. Like, it was just such good TV. And Chris, I've never seen a more belittled man in my life. Like, it's just, I could see him shrinking physically. Like, he literally I think he lost a couple inches off that.
Yeah. He looked shorter. He did look shorter when he left. That was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, can't go wrong, Gary. What you got, Coop?
My rose is going to go to guest hosts. I was a little skeptical going into Paradise with guest hosts, but
Same.
this is something we discussed. For what Paradise is, I think they're kind of making it work.
Yeah.
The general idea of guest hosts. I mean, surely I don't know how Lil Jon's gonna do, and we probably could.
That is our biggest test. That is by far our biggest test.
But like Tyrell Burgess, I'm enjoying so far. Lance Bass, I enjoy. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of fun to just kind of change things up because that's what Paradise is. It's very casual and just kind of fun. And
I honestly think that they could pull better.
Yeah, I think they could too.
But it was fun.
Has the potential for
so far.
Agreed. Yeah, has the potential for something you can work on.
Beautiful. I'm not gonna cheat that much. Only got 2. My one is that line from Alana. Chris, this is not your car.
This is not your car.
I honestly I would love to. We got to get a T-shirt of Chris. This is not your car.
This is not your car.
Yeah. Oh, that was just
and Joe
an
in the prosecution.
line.
I think that'd be a good T-shirt.
Yes. Yeah. And my last one. James, baby, he's still here. You may have forgot about him, but I didn't. And he's got a rose next week. You're like, oh, he's going to be got next rose ceremony. Sorry, not possible. He's coming back.
Next one.
It is possible. What if he just says no one's here for me? I'm just.
I suppose it is possible.
Yeah.
If Aaron goes home, he's going home. They're a package deal. I think he's going to find love. I think there's someone there for him. I don't know. I saw him and McKenna. They were
that's not love.
Close. Actually, that was Thomas and McKenna. But who knows? Hey, who knows? There's a lid for every pot. There might be a girl coming down who goes, there better be a man on that beach who has head like a Lego character, who has hair that looks like an ivory helmet, and they've got their man. He's waiting for you with a head full of gel. So shout out to James. Coupled the episode. This one's tough because I gave it to Brendan and Pieper last time just because they were obviously notable. Chris and Alana do not deserve that distinction. They are not even electric enough to earn that from me. So, Gary, what you got? Who is your couple this episode?
I'm going to go Marissa and Riley just because they're solid. But also last episode, them and Deandra sitting by the pool, just like while all this chaos is going on, and them just like kind of commenting on it throughout the episode. I thought that was like great. I thought that was like nice. Perfect role for them to play.
Yeah. Great call. What you got, Coop?
I was actually going to go also with Riley and Marissa for the fact that they kind of alluded to, maybe something's going to go down when Riley goes off to that party. And obviously, unfortunately, Marissa has a big freak out and she gets a little bit worried and says, I want to go home. So I was worried. And then like we discussed, he was in his own bubble at that party. He was honoring his code.
Keeping it tight.
Being respectful. keeping it tight. And calling out some bad behavior for his male counterparts there.
Staying ever vigilant. Yeah. He's dancing in a circle for a reason. 360 views on which guys are.
I'm happy they're still going strong.
Yeah. That's a great one. Love Riley. I'm gonna go switch it up. I really do like that one. You know what? I'm gonna go Becca and Thomas. I don't know if they have the legs to stand on, but he's a very good looking guy. She is a very good looking girl. They're both personable. They both, I don't know. I'm optimistic. I think if there's any match for Becca on this beach, it's Thomas. I don't think it's Aaron. I don't think the maturity level is there. No offense. Yeah. No offense. I think they're in different stages of their lives. So that's who I'm going with. I don't know if you guys are. I think I'm blowing there. The potential. There's some potential there. All right. Of course, rate, review, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Tell your friends. We would love, and send your feedback. We love getting feedback. We love it. Rate 5 stars on iTunes if you would be so kind. But also, if you're following Brendan, unfollow him and follow Natasha. Keep that gap growing, baby. I'm not even going to tell you to unfollow Chris because you're already not following him because he's Chris. Because he's Chris Conrad. So follow Natasha, unfollow Brendan, and keep not following Chris. Those are our 3 rules. I think that's fair, right, guys?
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah.
And you don't need to send shit. Come on now. Chris put up some story of like, here's a hotline for bullying in case. We get it. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get people are mean on the internet. I understand that. Doesn't mean you didn't do something shitty. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but yeah, no need to send DMs and stuff like that, but toss them the unfollow. Nothing hurts more than that. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Another fantastic week. We will be back next week. Do we have a double episode next week?
No, I think from now on, we're just Tuesdays, actually.
Just Tuesdays. We will be dropping this on a Wednesday then. right?
Correct.
Right. No, it comes out on Tuesdays, you're saying.
They come out on Tuesdays.
Gotcha. So we're chilling on Thursdays.
Chilling on Thursdays.
We're chilling on Thursdays, guys. You'll see it. You'll see it in your feeds, your podcast feeds, your YouTube subscriptions, all that fun stuff. Rate, review, subscribe. Gary, remember,
a wet bird never flies at night.
Thank you, and peace.